He gave up a lot of stuff, but my main objective was to make the fight happen by any means. Even though my people wanted to, after a while, they wanted to walk away from the fight. I was just all that outrageous demands. And then when you meet his demands and he moves the goalposts, yeah, nah, he's nice as hell. But yeah, I'm at the point of my career, the money right, fight anybody. So
Errol
I'm
Spence
anxious.
Jr. has taken aim at Terence Crawford, accusing him of ducking their rematch to pursue a fight with Canelo Alvarez instead. Spence posted a subtle yet pointed tweet on his X account, claiming that Crawford broke their rematch agreement to go ahead with the Canelo bout. The news shocked the boxing world, which had eagerly embraced the idea of a Crawford versus Canelo super fight in September, one that many believed could rescue the sport from its recent mediocrity. However, Spence clearly had other plans. In his tweet, he questioned why Crawford didn't come for him again, sharing a clip from their press conference where Crawford had taunted Spence and promised to give him a serious beating. "You talk so much, yet duck when it matters most," Spence wrote. Interestingly, it was reported that after their rematch was cancelled last year, talks resumed months later, with Terence Crawford even giving interviews where he claimed to be open to facing Errol Spence again. At that time, a rematch with Spence seemed like a more likely option than a fight with Canelo Alvarez, until Crawford suddenly changed course. This unexpected shift has fueled Errol Spence's ongoing rant on social media. However, many boxing fans believe their first fight wasn't close enough to warrant a rematch, and they see Spence's frustration as being more about chasing another big payday than settling unfinished business in
He
the
said
ring.
the Jose Benavidez fight was probably the toughest fight of his career. And I think you said back in the day you had your way with him in sparring. Is there anything to take away from that or that you take away from it?
Nah, not at all. I mean, it was a good fight. He fought a one-leg Jose Benavidez, and so to fight his career, that says a lot.
What does that?
Errol needs the money, guys. That's the sentiment many fans are expressing, questioning why anyone would want to step back into the ring with someone who nearly destroyed them. What was once seen as a 50-50 fight is now viewed as a 90-10 mismatch, with little hope for Spence to stand a real chance. After being dominated 2 years ago, making Crawford his comeback opponent seems reckless at best. Some fans have been ruthless in their trolling, urging Spence to avoid a rematch at all costs, saying not even a 2-month break could prepare him for what Crawford might do next. One brutal comment even warned that unless Spence is ready for something worse than his infamous car crash, he should stay far away from the ring.
Leave, leave. Got the game where kids, got a mom and dad, and they want to enjoy me.
Bro wants another crash from a punch and another cataract surgery. "This isn't the best way to commit suicide," one fan wrote bluntly, urging Errol Spence to reconsider rushing into a rematch with Terence Crawford. "Just get a tune-up and come back. You're good, no doubts. But Crawford might be too much of an experiment right now. Fondora, Thurman, and Tim are solid options." Another fan echoed similar concerns, referencing Tim Chu. Errol seems to have learned nothing from Tim. The guy came off a brutal, bloody fight against Fondora, went 8 rounds with a head injury, and took his first loss. Instead of resting and rebuilding, he jumped into another tough challenge and paid for it. For Spence, it could be even worse. Crawford might seriously hurt him. Another fan suggested that Errol Spence should consider leaving PBC, claiming the promotion no longer seems like the best environment for top boxing talents. No wonder all of Spence's proposed fights keep falling apart during contract talks, they said. "Leave PBC, bro. Get out of there. It's not what it used to be. Link up with someone like Turkey and get some proper fights. And whatever you do, don't go near Crawford. That beast is going to rip your head off." One of the final comments pointed to Crawford's recent statements. "I know Crawford mentioned this fight around the time he was fighting Madrimov. Maybe he shouldn't have gotten Spence's hopes up. He should have just ignored him instead."
Definitely, exciting. I hope building to it and leading up to it too. So it's something that I wouldn't change for nothing. I'm definitely open to the rematch and hopefully it'll be at 154 pounds.
I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. Like everything that I've accomplished, he's still trying to accomplish. You know,
Do you not think Spence will be in the Hall of Fame?
right now, no, how?
Yeah, he's
And
right, dude. He's right.
how?
You would
Like
be-
he fought in one division.
Never
he
unified the
he
belts.
While Terence Crawford never explicitly promised Errol Spence a rematch, he made it clear even back then that his primary focus was on Israel Madrimov, whom he's set to face on August 3rd at the Center in Los Angeles. When asked about the possibility of a rematch with Spence, Crawford acknowledged it as a potential scenario, saying, "The possibility is there. Spence is fighting Sebastian Fundora for his titles. I'm fighting for a title. And there's the possibility he wins his fight, God willing, and I win my fight, God willing. Then there's the possibility."
he unified.
Yeah. Was it?
Fight.
Yeah. Was it?
He
No,
had
but-
3. He had
Yeah,
the
but he didn't
WBC,
unify all 4. He
WBA,
wasn't
IBF.
undisputed.
Huh?
He
No,
wasn't
no,
undisputed.
he wasn't. No, but what I'm saying is, they already called him a weight bully, right? He beat Kell Brook coming off of a loss, an eye injury. He beat Sean
In
Porter.
all fairness, he had to go over there to get that.
With a rematch clause in their initial contract, Terence Crawford seemed to believe there was U2D Espanza's unfinished business to settle with Errol Spence. Given Crawford's dominant performance in their first meeting, he would enter any potential rematch as a clear favorite. The main question surrounding a possible second fight is whether Spence will be a different fighter competing at 154 lbs. The weight cut appeared to affect both men at this stage in their careers. But Spence looked significantly more drained, both at the weigh-ins and during the
I
actual
mean,
fight.
it could happen. Why not? If Crawford wanna challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great. So what I'm saying, I'm with it. So I'll be going for Bud. If he fight.
Following Crawford's stoppage win over Spence last year, a contractual rematch was reportedly in the works as part of his deal with PBC. However, despite months of speculation, no formal arrangements for the rematch were ever announced. According to Michael Coppinger, Spence opted to undergo cataract surgery a few months after their fight, a decision that ultimately caused the rematch window to expire. As a result, Crawford was free to pursue other fights, with no binding commitments to a specific promoter or network. While Crawford had been pushing for a high-profile bout with Canelo Alvarez, Canelo wasn't particularly receptive, believing there was little upside for him in that kind of matchup.
I mean, that's a good win. Like I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him or
I understand.
things like that, but I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades that he
Former
did.
unified welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr. currently finds himself in boxing limbo. While he hasn't officially announced his retirement, there appear to be no concrete plans for his return either. Having spent nearly 2 years out of the ring, fans are beginning to question whether the truth will ever grace the squared circle again. Not long ago, Spence was regarded as one of the best fighters in the world, an undefeated champion with thudding power and broad appeal. But everything changed when he faced Terence Crawford. Before that fight, their matchup was viewed as a true 50-50 clash between two equally skilled athletes. Then came the opening bell of their welterweight title unification bout. And from that moment on, it was all downhill for Spence.
I would never want to fight him coming off accident like that. Because when I beat him, then y'all gonna say, it was because of the accident. He fight. He beat Danny Garcia. I was in the timeout. I said, nah, he can't beat. Every time I see him, Spence fight line. I said,
So you knew then when you seen him?
I'm like, oh yeah, because it's different on TV. Yeah, when you watching it up close and personal.
Terence Crawford delivered a shocking and dominant beatdown of Errol Spence in their highly anticipated unification bout on Saturday night, becoming the first undisputed welterweight champion in nearly 4 decades. With the victory, Crawford also solidified his claim as the world's best fighter, regardless of weight. He knocked Spence down in the second round and twice more in the seventh, before referee Harvey Dock finally intervened at 2:32 of round 9. Given the one-sided nature of the fight, no one in the sold-out crowd of 19,990 at the T-Mobile Arena would have argued if the stoppage had come sooner.
I mean, I don't know if he gonna win or lose, but I definitely be going Crawford. I think if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off. He's chasing greatness, so why not? Canelo came up to 175 and fought Kovalev and fought the other guy too. So I mean, if he can do it, he started at 147. So I mean, if he's doing it, why can't Crawford do it?
The matchup between undefeated American stars, more than 5 years in the making, was billed as the best fight that boxing could deliver. However, after an opening round that was fought on even terms, the bout quickly turned into little more than a showcase for Terence Crawford's generational talent. The 35-year-old from Nebraska etched his name into boxing history with an extraordinary display of power, precision, and ring generalship, making an elite opponent like Errol Spence look like a novice. Crawford, a former champion at 135 lbs and 140 lbs, entered the eagerly anticipated showdown as a slight favorite and left the ring as the first fighter to hold all of the recognized world titles at welterweight since 1986. That year, Lloyd Honeyghan shocked the boxing world by stopping Donald Curry at Caesars Atlantic City to capture the WBA, WBC, and IBF belts in one of the greatest upsets in British boxing history.
Fish fry come Saturday. Saturday. Man, you gotta calm down, brother. Cause listen, man, things can get real sticky real quick, and then everybody would say, "This is what we do every time we come out. This is what we do when we come out." Social media.
Asserting himself as the superior fighter, Crawford battered Spence in one-sided fashion until the bout was mercifully stopped in the 9th round. After the fight, Crawford stood tall as the undisputed welterweight champion, a title he held for a brief time before eventually moving up to junior middleweight. At the moment, it appears that Crawford's next challenge could be the highly anticipated, if somewhat unconventional, super fight against Canelo Alvarez. As for Spence, the likable Texan has not been seen in the ring since his devastating loss to Crawford in 2023. In fact, it's been quite some time since Spence's last appearance. Now, the question isn't just when Spence will return to action, but whether he will return
Got the
at all.
confidence to come out there and just be like, okay, well, even the skills to say, all right, let me see how you gonna take a punch to the chin. Let me see how you gonna take a punch to the body. Let me see how you gonna react when you can't bully somebody around. Okay. So my mind was, you know what I mean, it was racing a little bit. And I was like, man, how should I come out? And it was like,